Okay, I am so excited to talk to you. First of all, I need to ask you about kind of just like, I just want to take the temperature of skincare and social media and everything. What's kind of like really occupying some of your mind right now and your TikTok scroll time?
My TikTok scroll time has gone down because
Okay.
of Threads.
Okay, fair.
So I'm like, that app just like, I don't know what happened to my attention span.
Yeah.
But my TikTok is kind of down. I would say I feel like it's been a pretty tempered sort of world at
Okay.
this point in time.
Yeah.
So it's not as like chaotic or crazy as it was in 2020 or
Yeah.
2021 when I think I was interviewed with
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
But I do think there are still people who are just trying to gain attention by hating on others.
Yeah.
And it's just never a good look,
Yeah.
especially when they're trying to pit professionals against professionals. And everybody, I am never going to take the place of a cosmetic chemist or an esthetician
Right.
or a whatever it is, an influencer, and for that matter. And I feel like we all have to learn that when we work together, the best change will happen and people
Yeah.
will be educated in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the one thing that I think is kind of still present that should die pretty quick.
Yeah. Talk to me about Threads, because pretty much immediately you were like a superstar on Threads.
I don't know. I was in London eating scones.
Okay.
And then I was like, Gary Vee popped on my Instagram and he was like, you should be on Threads. And I was like, oh God. And then I go on it. And for whatever reason, I genuinely do not know why. I understood it right away.
Okay.
Whereas Twitter, I've been on Twitter. I have a handle. I think I've tweeted like 3 things in the past 7 years. I never understood.
Right.
It just seemed way more chaotic than Threads. And Threads just seemed like a, oh, F it, here we go again. Happy, funny, sort of easygoing space.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care what I was writing. And it just kind of like blew up in that sense.
Right.
Literally in one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was nuts. But yeah.
Yeah, because I think we're talking, and Threads has been a thing for literally a week or 10 days at this point, and you're already a Threads influencer.
Which is not something I ever expected to,
I love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
wild.
it. So off the hop, I want to ask you about this breakup with Botox craze. So I've seen this on social media. If you're not familiar, apparently a therapeutics brand called Revance used ChatGPT in an effort to convince users to, quote unquote, break up with Botox for the treatment of frown lines in favor of its rival drug called Daxxify. So the campaign launched and it had like a 30-second breakup song and
No way.
videos featuring women practicing their Botox breakup in the mirror, like having to like deliver news to the Botox that they were breaking up with. So have you seen anything about this?
I have not. I have not. And I wonder if they've intentionally blocked me from seeing such a thing. But that's wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And what about Daxxify? Have you heard about this?
Of course, I have it in my practice.
Yes.
But this is where the line gets blurred between a medication that, providers are providing to patients.
Mhm.
Because ultimately it is a medication, whether it's
Right.
Daxxify and we make it look pretty with pink and whatever, or it's Botox that's used for migraines. It's a medication.
Right.
So to have a drug company so blatantly piss on the next one
Yeah.
is like saying, don't eat oranges, have a banana.
Yeah.
Banana and oranges are both fruits. They're both
Right.
drugs, but they're not the same. One person cannot tolerate the acidity of an orange and one person hates bananas. Like everybody responds slightly differently.
Okay.
And I've seen this firsthand. I offer all of them in my practice and I am not sponsored by anyone. Not Galderma, not Allergan, not Mers, not Revance, none of them.
Right.
And so I don't think that's actually a fair sort of play, you know?
I was kind of blown away that they could say the word Botox.
I wonder if they're going to get hit with something.
Maybe.
That's wild.
Blame it on ChatGPT.
No, ChatGPT. Oh, ChatGPT is apparently going to court.
I'll probably. I don't doubt it.
Yeah, the FDA or something. I don't know what it was. Not the FDA.
In all seriousness, is it true that Daxxify lasts a bit longer?
Listen. On average, Botox.
Yeah.
Botox. We were talking about it. Probably lasts anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
And people think, okay, I inject, it's gonna last like this, and then it's gonna go away. It doesn't work that way. You inject, it's there. Your movement kind of comes back. Oh, it goes away. Your movement kind of comes back. Oh, it goes away until finally it gives up.
Right.
Around the 12 to 14 week mark. But the 10 to 12 weeks is when it kind of accelerates.
Yeah.
I hate the marketing of, oh, it lasts 6 months. Because then people come in and I have to deal with it at the end. I'm not the one who cooked it.
Right.
And they're like, wait, I have movement at 4 months. And I'm like, and they're like, no, I need a free treatment. And then the drug companies do not give support to the providers.
Right.
Because then we're at, the whims of our patients and you want to make sure that they're happy, but they're being misled.
Right.
So no, it doesn't last 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't. You're going to probably get movement back around the 3 to 4 month mark.
Okay.
Not as much as Botox. So it does last a little bit longer, but it's definitely not perfect for the full duration of 6 months.
So back to the people's most Googled questions. One that's really high up there is, how do I determine my skin type? So what do you say to that?
I have a whole YouTube video that you guys can watch that I recorded 2 years ago. It's up there. You know why I started social? So I don't have to keep repeating myself.
We're going to make you do it today.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But basically, I like to think of it as like either oily or dry or sensitive.
Okay.
Because normal is what's normal.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
Everyone has normal skin to them.
Everyone has normal skin.
Yeah.
And I think the way you kind of assess is after washing your face with a cleanser. If your skin feels very dry and stripped like an hour or so later, not immediately, you're probably on the drier end of the spectrum. And you're probably somebody for whom you could see a lot of the fine lines. You could see maybe a couple of flaking, although the flaking is not necessarily just due to dry skin. It could be a yeast. But your skin doesn't feel nice and dewy and like just, picked up. If your skin is oily by the end of the day or an hour after washing your face, especially along your T-zone, and your pores look more enlarged and you're somebody who's more prone to breakouts, you're probably on the oily end of the spectrum. Now, everybody is some combination of combination. And if you're super combination skin, where you're really just glistening from like your top to bottom, but you're like the Sahara Desert on the sides, you do have to tailor your skincare to different parts of your face.
Okay.
That's the reality.
Do people really do that?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so, but they're missing out.
Yeah.
They're missing out.
I feel like it's expensive, right? And you just want to get on your routine that works, and you don't want to be using 5 products on different parts of your face, but maybe that's the move.
But maybe it's like you do it for a couple of months where you're just focusing on the worst part. Is it the dryness or the oiliness?
Right.
And then once that sort of acclimates, then you see how you address the second if it still needs to be addressed as much.
Right.
Because it is cohesive. So it might calm down when the rest is picked up.
Yeah. Do you think that skin type is that people put too much emphasis on it?
I swear you're stalking, because
what?
30 minutes ago in the Uber ride, I was editing a reel that I'm going to post on Saturday.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Talking about moisturizing your face and how people put too much emphasis on their skin type.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Without taking into account their environment. Because everyone's like, I'm dry, I'm oily. But an oily person in a humid environment is very different than an oily person in a dry environment. And same goes for a dry person. And so it's a living, breathing organ.
Right.
And you definitely need to address your skin needs based on your climate.
Yeah, and where you are.
100%. And that's something that people have never really picked up on.
Right.
Like, I don't use the same moisturizer when I am in Florida as I do when I'm in Utah.
Right.
Not the same.
Same that you don't wear the same clothes.
100%.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah. You can put that in your reel.
It's true. I already edited it. I finished. I edited it. I cut it. I did the whole thing in the car.
There we have it, everyone. She edits her own social media, so we don't even have to ask that question. Now, next question is, how do I know if my skin is purging? I've always kind of thought purging is a bit of a fallacy. Like, I don't know if it's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Okay.
But I think it's been overexploited in a sense. Purging is when you basically introduce an ingredient onto your skin that is going to slightly accelerate your own skin's exfoliation process. And in that process, impurities that are sitting underneath the surface of the skin are going to kind of come up.
Okay.
A little bit faster, or come up when you were never expecting them to, even. Especially in areas where you would have been prone to breaking out. So for example, I tried a 30% TCA peel in June. 4 days later, I had a bunch of tiny little equal-sized blackheads and whiteheads on my chin. They're gone now.
Yeah.
But it came up and it lasted anywhere from, like, I would say 1 to 4 weeks. And I just kept going through my routine slowly as I did prior.
Right.
Without trying to aggravate it. Because the second I tried to pop one, it left a mark. So I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
And now where I'm at the 4 to 6 week mark and it's much better.
Okay.
It's completely cleared. But that's the key. It's transient. It's not something that lasts forever. So if your skin is in this constant state of purging, like let's say you use a retinol.
Yeah.
And you always are breaking out from it, maybe you just can't tolerate that retinol. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you're purging forever. It just means you can't tolerate it.
Yeah.
So it should have a beginning and an end.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it. Now, we've gotten this question so many times, I've lost count. I'm sure you have too. What's the difference between medical grade skincare, clinically tested skincare, and drugstore skincare? Are these real terms, especially clinically tested and medical grade?
That's an excellent question. I am a doctor. I have my own skincare line. Medical grade means jack shit.
Okay.
Okay.
Clip it.
Clip. Jack shito. Okay. It means niente. Okay. Nothing. Medical grade, drugstore grade, one is sold in a drugstore, one is sold in a provider's office. That is all that it means. And if you want to pay more for whatever, it makes you feel better, do it. Because at the end of the day, there is some placebo effect to skincare.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're enjoying it because you got it there and you have more value and you feel like it's working better, it might actually work better.
Yeah.
Because it exists. So I'm not going to deny that fact. But does it mean anything? It doesn't. Clinically studied means something, but clinically proven doesn't. Clinically tested and studies are the same.
Okay.
So clinically proven, you have to do your homework to see what the company has done.
Okay.
Because maybe they're relying just on their manufacturers of the raw ingredients to say, oh, this ingredient was clinically proven versus that one. So we're going to say it's clinically proven, right?
Yeah.
Clinically tested can either be a consumer perception test where someone's like, oh, I think I look better. Yeah. 80% of people think they look better.
Right.
Versus a clinical study, which is we did all of them, which is basically when you hire an independent testing facility that has their own testers that we never meet. The participants don't even know what they're using on their face. Pictures are taken to actually evaluate the skin and to evaluate the quality of the skin and to quantify any sort of change through pictures and through those independent testers.
Like they use those instruments too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you have to do your own studies to see what a brand is actually doing to back up their own claims.
Right. I'm sure when you were launching your own line, you were probably like, I better have my shit together.
I was like, buckle up to my husband. You thought we spent X, we're spending 10X. It's funny because I went back and forth a lot and I was like, but of course I'm not going to do something that's not real. Of course I'm going to. But at the end of the day, I felt like I had to do it.
Yeah.
Being a physician, being a dermatologist, being held to that standard. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll do it. And why not? I have all of this extra effort behind all of these products that speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So for me, it ended up being a no-brainer, but it did significantly increase the cost of the whole process.
The budget went way up.
Yeah.
This is a question we also get a lot, and I think it's pretty tricky to answer. It's because it's so vague. What are the best anti-aging skincare products? This is what people are Googling. So
it's wild. It's wild. It is very vague. It's not going to be collagen.
Yeah. Okay. Say more.
It's not going to be collagen. I think you want to go for things that are tried and true. Things that have real studies and years behind them. Everything great was once new, but not everything new is great. And some ingredients have been around for years. But if they've been around for years, everyone should be looking like a fetus by now, right? Yeah. So that's not necessarily going to be great.
Yeah.
But things that have actual data behind it. I mean, unfortunately, retinoids as a whole has data behind it.
Yeah.
Certain peptides have data behind it. Certain types of exfoliating acids, like glycolic acid, has data behind it. But companies are never going to say glycolic acid helps to promote collagen production because that's bordering on a drug claim.
Right.
So you have to sort of know and understand. And I think as a consumer, it can be very confusing. Yeah. Even as a physician, it can be very confusing.
I just want to go back to the collagen thing you said there, like the little diss to collagen. Is that topically?
Topically.
Yeah.
I mean, and orally-ish, I think more studies and better studies are needed that are double blind and truly objective, because a lot of them were funded by the companies. They're not going to say our product is crap.
Right.
So they're going to present it in a certain light. But again, there's also placebo effect. And there's also, so I think a better, well-formulated study around oral collagen should be done. Several, not just one.
Right.
In terms of topical collagen, my beef with it is that so many patients come in saying, I've been using this cream or that cream and it has collagen, but my skin feels still very weak or crepey. And it's still a misconception that is very much present, that people think applying topical collagen to their face is going to help promote their own collagen.
Right.
Not that it's a hydrating product. Yeah, it's a moisturizer, sure, great. But anything's going to moisturize. It's
Yeah.
not going to replenish collagen.
Right.
But by leading with collagen on a lot of these products, people are thinking they're replenishing their own supply.
Right.
And that's not the case.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay. Another Google question that's high up there is, do eye creams actually work?
When they come with a specific intent,
Okay.
meaning I think there's a place for eye creams when you're addressing a problem. Like, are you trying to promote collagen production
Right.
for a point? Are you trying to minimize the look of redness or puffiness for that area? Are you trying to address a little bit of discoloration for that area? So I think eye creams, when they come with intent and are trying to target a specific problem,
Yeah.
great.
Okay.
But a $400 La Prairie eye cream that my mom used to wear and I used to like roll over is like, no, not necessary. But again, if you enjoy it and if you feel better about yourself that you're using that product and you feel you see a difference, I don't underestimate the power of placebo.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
So go use it. Why not? It makes you happy. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Right. Right.
But do I think that you need a $400 eye cream that's just a really basic, rich, I was going to use the other B word, moisturizer? No, you don't.
So what's the best eye cream you've ever seen? Like, if you were like, okay, this is the one that actually does something.
There used to be a brand called NeoCutis that I loved. Or not
Oh.
NeoCutis, sorry, Naya 24.
Oh.
Naya 24 they're off. I think they sold and then they went under or something. But they had an amazing under eye. It was a niacin-rich eye cream that brightened the under eyes, but it also felt beautiful and was very nice under the eyes. And one of the best under eye primers I've ever used.
Okay.
But it helped with inflammation and it helped brightening the under eye area. So that one, unfortunately, was a very sad loss when that company went under. And it's, even though I know fragrance is controversial, it had a very light scent, almost like a light laundry detergent, where you felt really nice using it. But that's a real shame. Otherwise, I would say I loved Kate Somerville's retinol eye cream because everyone wants to try to get retinol in that area, but it's very hard to fully tolerate. So it's just the right balance for the under eyes.
Yeah. You bring up a good point with the one that you initially liked, that it's kind of like priming under the eyes because a lot of them are too emollient.
Yeah.
And you feel like it's kind of slipping and sliding everywhere.
All over.
Yeah.
All over. It's just like, and all of a sudden you put the concealer and then it's like sitting in different patches.
It's not cute.
It's not cute.
Yeah.
So I feel like it should serve a dual purpose, thinking of the person and how they're going to use it in their life. And not everyone's going to walk out barefaced.
Yeah. What about under eye? I'm just going to stick with the eye area. I was recently at an event from a pharmaceutical brand and they were talking about an under eye injectable that was specifically for the under eye area, but it's just hyaluronic as far as I could tell. Do you have a reel about that too?
No, I don't. But I feel like, so they got that. I know what drug company you're talking about. They basically, the problem is this. It's the exact same product as we've been using for years.
Yes.
Nothing in the products has actually changed. They just got clearance now through the FDA to talk about using it for the under eyes.
Okay.
So I understand that they're promoting it. It makes sense. But I've been using it for years for the under eyes.
Right.
For years. But hyaluronic acid, when injected under the skin, comes in different weights, comes in different shapes, comes in different molecular configurations.
Yeah.
It does different things. And it's not just about the paint that you're using or the HA that you're using. It's about the type of canvas that you have. Do you have a bone structure that can hold on to the filler correctly so that it can sit there and not move? Is your bone structure too low? Is your skin too thin? Are you injecting too deep? Are you injecting too superficially? So there's a lot of variables when it comes to under eyes and fillers. But for that particular one that you're talking about, it's basic. I don't know if you can say what it is, but it's Restylane.
Yeah, you can say it.
It's a Restylane brand, and they now sell them in half syringes specifically dedicated for the under eyes. But it's the exact same product as what you get injected into your face
that you've been using for years.
Yeah, but they just sell it in a half syringe now, and they actually had half syringes for a long time, but they were, because of the cost to produce, almost as expensive as buying a full syringe. So why then was a patient going to pay so much more for a half syringe?
Right.
It was a whole thing.
Right.
I wish them a lot of success.
Of course.
But I don't think it's necessary just to use that.
Right.
Unless you're getting it at a better price.
Right. What about, do you think that under eye filler is still happening?
Yeah.
I think people are still doing it.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I have always been somebody, personally in my practice, do I see a lot of bad under eye fillers coming in that I have to reverse? Yes. Am I somebody who just injects the under eye when I see a patient walk through the door? Probably 1% of the time. Because when you're looking at a person's under eyes, and if it's truly due to the aging process and looking more tired because you're evolving and wiser in life, then it also comes with volume loss elsewhere on your face that you also have to address for your face to look cohesive. It is rare that you have somebody, unless it is just purely genetics, who's extremely sunken in, who can basically take filler under their eyes alone.
Yeah.
And just address that.
I think that's like a young person's game.
It's a young person's game, and it's unfortunate because it catches up with them once it's a little bit too late that they realize they don't like the look of it.
Yeah.
And so I think the obsession with anti-aging and people in their teens and their early 20s is wild, in my opinion, because just live your life, be free and be young, and just enjoy it while you have it. And don't try to chase away things that are going to happen naturally anyway at such a young age. And that whole preventative thing, I have very feelings about internally. Because there's only a small subset of people that are born looking older, or how are genetically going to look older slightly faster than the majority.
Interesting. Now you touched on it, the preventative word. So my next question that's Googled a lot is preventative Botox really a thing? Now we had Dr. Jean Carruthers on the show many moons ago. She's the ophthalmologist who basically then discovered that Botox could be great for cosmetic use, and her husband did all the work. Yeah.
They're the godparents.
Exactly. And then they sold it to Allergan. I'm like, why are you still working, girl? But she's still working. And she told me that you should only start using Botox when you see the line at rest.
I love her.
So that's when I started. And now I'm like, oh, maybe this coin slot on my forehead, maybe I should have been dealing with it years ago.
No,
or would it have been a waste of money?
I'm going to nuance her statement a little bit.
Let's hear it,
but she's absolutely right. You start Botox at your first signs of aging that are there even when you're not emoting.
Okay.
So having a line at rest can have a lot of different varying degrees, from a little line to a deep crevice.
Yeah.
And so I think when you have your fine lines of aging that are there, when you're not emoting and you're just looking at yourself blank-faced at the mirror, and they start to bother you, I think that's sort of a good time to start.
Okay.
But when I have patients come in who are like, they just popped out of the eggshell. Okay. And they're like, look at my lines. And they're lifting their foreheads.
Yeah.
I'm like, of course you're lifting your forehead. It's like when you bend over, you're going to have a roll.
Yeah.
Everybody has a varying degree of a roll.
Yeah.
But we all have some kind of roll because it's like your skirt, your dress, your fabric. It has to fold.
It moves with you. Yeah.
It moves with you. And so I think people are starting way too young. And I think with Botox or Dysport or Daxxify or Jeuveau or Xeomin or whichever one, there is a tipping point where in the very beginning you use it. It does last long.
Yeah.
Probably 5 months, even Botox.
Yeah.
And then it shortens into that 10 to 12 week period that I talked about for a few years. And after a few years, as your muscle has kind of gotten used to no longer moving so much, if you're always hitting it, you can then get a longer period of time out of your neuromodulator.
Right.
But that's why personally, when I tell patients, especially younger ones who come in, let's say they're even 27 or 31 and they have those lines that are bothering them, I tell them, give it at least 6 months. Let your movement come back. Get your muscle memory back before you do it again. Even though you're going to want to hit it in 3 months, don't. Allow your face to be its own face and to have its own emotions. I haven't injected myself since I think February,
Okay, yeah.
So I think that is very important to make sure that you stay cohesive as a whole and your muscle doesn't become flaccid and you don't become flat over time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because you do get that. Oh, it's just so incredible when you get it done for the first time. You're like, oh my God, it disappeared.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So you're kind of chasing that hit a little bit. Speaking for myself.
A little bit.
But yeah, you have to be a little patient. Otherwise you'll be frozen.
Forever.
Yeah, forever. Or you can't.
Or flat.
Yeah. Okay, good to know. We've heard it again. You have confirmed what Dr. Carruthers told us. So
I think she's confirmed everything.
Yeah.
Like she's I'm not taking the limelight away from her.
No, but I hear other derms say that, oh, preventative Botox is a thing. And then I'm like, well, is that just to get more business? Like, I don't know. No shade to them, but I just don't know. Crickets.
No, I don't know. I don't. It's not about money. I just think I think cosmetics and aesthetics is a low barrier to entry.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean everybody should do it. And I think, and it's not to sound like, oh, my technique is amazing. No, that's not it. I think some people have an innate artistic sort of eye in which they understand it on a deeper, more emotional level, and they understand what it means, and they understand the impact it can have, and they understand how a person can evolve. And other people's are just painting by numbers. And when you paint by numbers, you're going to end up looking wackadoo.
Yeah.
And you have to find the person who not only has the credentials to do things for you, but whose aesthetic, whose opinion, whose mental capacity you respect and vibe with as you grow old. Because you have one body, one face.
Yeah. Next question that is being Googled. What skincare products should you spend money on? AKA what to invest in.
I think everyone should have a basic cleanser, not one with actives. Something to wash your face with at night.
Okay. What's your favorite right now?
Cannot tell you.
Okay.
That might be an Easter egg. Okay. But I think something like Vanicream is relatively basic. It does burn my eyes, so it's slightly annoying.
Okay.
Allies of Skin has a nice one. Those are
I like the new Sophie Pavitt cleanser.
Oh, yeah. Sophie Pavitt, her green one.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for helping me with that one.
Yeah.
But yes, I actually do like her cleanser. And so I think those are nice basic cleansers. Then you move on, right? I think depending on your environment and your skin type, but first your environment, a basic moisturizer that's going to help keep your skin in balance or not. The only ones who can save money here are the really oily people in humid environments. You don't need a moisturizer. You'll be fine. You do not need a moisturizer. Then you need a sunscreen. And I do not care what kind of sunscreen. Mineral, chemical, tinted, non-tinted, as long as it's SPF 30 and above.
Yeah.
That 2% difference, that's really much more than 2% difference between 30 and 45. Who cares? Because people don't even put it on their face. So let them at least put something on their face every single morning. You'll be better than 99% of the population. And I think when you have those three, you have a pretty solid routine to start with.
Right.
And then you go from there. Then you focus on your problem. Are you red? Are you brown? Are you acne prone? Are you not acne prone? Do you have rosacea? And then you kind of start going in deeper based on your problem after you have the basics.
Right. I do think that one point of contention or confusion for people is like a serum. It's like when you see the May Love Glow serum, and that's like $30 versus the SkinCeuticals, that's $180, the vitamin C, CE Ferulic, which is so good. Do you think you get what you pay for in that respect?
I don't always think you get what you pay for. No. And I think SkinCeuticals for that price should have put it in an airless pump.
Yeah. That would help.
But they're playing on the mentality of people wanting to be their own chemists and feeling like it's fancier. And the droppers at the time were ahead of their time.
Right.
But I think now with consumers being a little bit more, I think they need to evolve with the times and spend more money if they're going to want that price.
Yeah.
I like vitamin C esters, and that's why I put a vitamin C ester in my moisturizer.
Right.
So I have a skincare line called PillowTalkDerm, blah, blah, blah. So in my line, in PillowTalkDerm, my skincare line, I have a moisturizer called Active Seal. And in it, I intentionally picked a vitamin C ester, also known as tetrahexyl decyl ascorbate, which I preferred to the active form. Why? Because a lot of people get irritated by the active form.
So that's like L-ascorbic acid or something?
Yep. Okay. An L-ascorbic acid, anywhere from 10 to 20% is the sweet spot, but it's unstable. And you can't use it, for example, with like copper peptides or whatever it is because of the whole oxidation situation. So I wanted a vitamin C ester that people could use twice a day to get the full benefits of it. Because like a SkinCeuticals, you're probably just using in the morning, once a day.
Yeah.
Active Seal you use twice a day, and you can use it in combination with other ingredients, whether it's a retinol, a niacinamide, a copper peptide, all those questions that people tend to ask.
Yeah.
You can use this type of vitamin C with.
Okay.
So I don't think they're all created equal. I definitely do not. And I don't think you always get what you pay for. I definitely do not. And I think in today's marketplace, and I'm obviously biased because I created my own skincare line,
Right.
I had to come in at a competitive advantage of price because I'm competing with all of these bigger ones. So I had to take a hit on my own profit margins in that sense. And I thought to myself, rather take a hit because in the long run, people will see how good a product is and will stick to it
Right. And come back for
and come
more.
back for more.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So we've heard about skin flooding.
Yeah.
How much skincare is too much skincare to put on your face, like at one time?
It's a great question that also comes back to your climate and your sensitivities.
Mm.
You know, like you don't need so much moisturizer in a humid environment. You don't. You do not need to moisturize if it's very
Right.
humid outside.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever said you do is just trying to sell, you know, ice in Antarctica. Like you don't
Yeah.
need it. And so I think you have to look at your skin and see where you're at and where you're living and really ebb and flow with the climate when it comes to the moisture of your skin.
Right.
So this whole concept of skin flooding doesn't make any sense
Okay.
to me.
Right. Something else people Google a lot is how to get rid of a zit fast. Not just get rid of a zit, but fast is operative here.
Get rid of the appearance of the zit or get rid of the zit?
How to get rid of a zit fast was the one of the most Googled questions.
So if you have like a red carpet event and your
Mhm.
zit is like red,
Yeah.
like a juicy tomato, okay?
Yeah.
Lumify has eye drops.
Okay.
You can put it on it.
Okay.
Okay, it has an ingredient called bromidine. Is it bromidine or brominidine? I'm a little bit tired because I woke up at 5 a.m. But Lumify. And it helps to basically vasoconstrict and get the red out. Kind of like, in theory, Preparation H.
Right.
Putting it on your pimple.
Okay.
Okay, to minimize the appearance of the redness. But is that going to treat it? No, it's not going to treat it. Like this is like quick. I have a big event in 2 hours. I just want to make this appear like it's not fully there.
Right. Right.
But if you want to treat something, the tried and trues are the tried and trues for a reason.
Yeah.
Benzoyl peroxide, creating a benzoyl peroxide salicylic little acid mask that you put on that little sucker to get it dry. Taking a really hot shower. Sit in
Okay.
there a little bit extra. Let your little pimple come to a head. Get a clean needle. You didn't hear it from me. Make a tiny little dot and then use a hydrocolloid patch.
Okay.
Sleep with it. The next day it will kind of help suck it out. And maybe that next day use a tiny bit of a steroid just to calm the inflammation.
Right.
That's like a quick fix situation as well. But don't use a steroid long term. Not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
But doing those little things can help it disappear faster. And
Yeah.
then obviously seeing a board certified dermatologist
Yes.
to help you with your
You
skin.
could do like a cortisol shot in there if they can
Corti-
see you.
Yes, you can do it. But again, those are like band-aids that are
Yeah.
quick fixes. Like if someone's constantly getting pimples all the time, I'm not going to do it all the time. I'll do it
Right.
once.
Right. Now, I can't let you go without asking you about sunscreen because this just is the question. It's the $1 million question always. What sunscreen are you loving right now? Are you working on one?
I am.
Okay.
I am working on one. I've been working on one for a while. Sunscreens take time and capital,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure we do it right. My colleague, Dr. David Kim, launched a sunscreen, a mineral one, which is great for oily skin, I think. It's a dry, matte mineral sunscreen
Okay.
called Lightsaver. I always have been a fan of the Beauty of Joshan because I like creamier sunscreens in that sense,
Yeah.
almost like moisturizers, especially in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I like Isdin as well. There was one more, which was really good. Oh, Supergoop.
Oh.
They have a body mousse play version.
Okay.
And I thought that was a really interesting texture for sunscreen because when it dries, it doesn't dry very oily either.
Mm.
And I think it's nice when you're on the go and you don't want to wear makeup and you have a little bit oily skin and let's say it's humid outside. It was a nice one.
Okay. Crystal ball moment. What trend do you think we're going to see everywhere moving into late 2023 and even into next year for skincare?
I think it's already happening.
Okay.
But I think the single ingredient story is on its way out
Okay.
completely. And I think we're going to see people talk about skincare as like pieces of a puzzle that come together in a broader sense with multiple ingredient stories that make sense.
Okay.
And I think the sunscreen is going to expand. I think it's going to expand.
Yeah.
But maybe not by the end of 2023. I think by 2025, like a few years, 2 to 3 years from now, we'll have more filters in the US, I hope.
Yeah.
And I think professionals are going to be hopefully taking a center spot
Okay.
when it comes to skincare.
I wanted to ask you, about your own line, PillowTalkDerm. So
Mhm.
any sneak peek somewhat might be coming. The people want to know.
I know.
What's your number one bestseller so far?
It's unbelievable how much the Hyper Serum has been loved.
Okay. And that's
by
all about what?
Hyper Serum. So Hyper Serum is part of the Major Fade line. It is the
Right.
serum of the trio, and it is the powerhouse of the brightening trio. It is a hydrating serum. So it's actually beautiful if you have oily skin. You might not really need a moisturizer after it.
Mm-hmm.
But it also gives an instant brightening effect, which I did intentionally because I wanted people to feel better as they were using it.
Right.
So they allow the products to actually do the work for them. But it's a beautiful product that I use as a serum all over my face. And because it gets delivered in a drop-like fashion, I use it under my eyes as well.
Okay.
So that's like an eye cream, even though it's not technically an eye cream, that I use.
Right.
And then the Deep Puffer, I think, has a very solid core audience that are obsessed with it. Once you understand it, it's like you can't look back.
So explain this, what it is.
So the Deep Puffer is a product I launched. It was born out of my own frustration with people using rollers,
Okay.
but also trying to fill a void for my patients who got a lot of bruising and swelling. So I thought to myself, rollers are kind of stuck in another era. What if we incorporated a roller with a product that was going to actively deliver the benefits that a roller does long after you're done rolling?
Mm-hmm.
So it has a serum that has anti-inflammatory properties in it. So it can help to reduce the look of puffiness. So I can never say helps reduce swelling. It helps to reduce the look of puffiness. Okay.
Well done.
Well done. Thank you. I've been practicing. It's hard to take your doctor hat off, and then that's what's hard about this. And what I was also thinking in development was when you're actually puffy and swollen, what often accompanies that?
Mm-hmm.
Redness.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted the serum to have redness reducing effects that were relatively quick and that would have longer lasting benefits. And so it's a serum that reduces the look of redness when used twice a day over a month.
Mm-hmm.
And depuffs within 5 minutes.
Right. And the big thing here is that I've not used it, but I've seen it. It's got a roller, a stainless steel roller applicator.
Yes.
So the serum, you squeeze the tube.
So you turn the roller on.
Okay.
You squeeze the tube. Then I turn the roller off so I can control how much comes out. Because if you put too much, it will pill.
Right.
And I think less is more. And then I roll it around my eyes. Again, it's not a dedicated eye product.
Right.
It is safe to use around the eyes though. But I use it around my eyes because I get very puffy in the morning.
Yeah.
I have patients who use it around their lips when they inject, and I use it for sculpture patients all the time because they need to massage their face.
Right. And so this is a volumizing filler.
It's not volumizing. Sculptra is a sculptra. Sorry, the sculptra is volumizing, yes, but the roller is not volumizing.
Right.
And so you use it on your face to help minimize the look of swelling, redness, bruising.
Well, Dr. Idriss, this has been Dr. Idriss. This has been very fun. Did I miss anything? What's a question that you get pretty much every single day in your practice?
What do you want for lunch? Every day at like 7 a.m. I'm like, oh, what are we gonna eat today?
What's your go-to spot?
Oh my God. If I didn't, so I tell everyone at work, like I am not meant to enjoy my lunch at work because I'm eating so fast. And if I care, then I'd be ordering like pasta and fried chicken and this. And it's a waste of calories for me. So I try to order the same thing every day at work. So I don't think about it.
Right.
Because I do think a lot about food.
Oh my
and then
God,
this way it's the best. I mean,
why not?
Why not? Apparently Ozempic reduces food noise, which I didn't know was a term, but like I have a lot of food noise in my head.
Right.
And so
we have to eat 3 times a day. Like it's not like you can just forget to eat. And
that's why I think if you order the same thing and you know you're covered, then and you know that you don't care to enjoy it. I love sitting down and having nice dinners and going out and spending that time with my family and my friends at night.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time during the day. So I go and I order the salad from Le Café Coffee, which is a chain of coffee places in New York City. And I know the guy is my friend who owns it, but I still pay. And he is very, very picky about his ingredients. And I know what he's putting in his food and it's clean and I love it. So that's one. And then I always order from Little Beet, like a quinoa roasted vegetable situation. So at least I know one meal during the day is like vegetable focused,
like healthy, super healthy.
Because everything else is like prosciutto this, tortellini that, fried chicken here. I think everything in moderation. Like when I go on social and I see people who are like, sugar is gonna kill your skin. Sure, of course, but you know what else is going to kill your skin? Being unhappy.
Yeah.
Like unhappy souls don't have endorphins, they have bad skin.
Yeah.
Right? So I think anything in moderation, a little cookie every once in a while, pourquoi pas? Enjoy
Yeah.
it. Have your eclair, have your croissant, have whatever it is.
Glass of wine.
You know, a glass of wine, but don't go crazy.
Thank you so much.
This has been a lot of fun.
Dr. Idriss, this was so fun. Maybe we'll do a little TikTok with you before we head out of this room. And congratulations on 5 years of PillowTalkDerm
Thank you.
being an Instagram phenomena and skin nerds. I am a skin nerd now.
You are.
Officially for life.
Nerdified.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.